Taming the High Cost of College, Episode 42.
You have kids, they grow up, and before you know it, it's time to plan for college.
Where do you start?
How much is it going to cost?
Will you qualify for financial aid?
Should you be looking into scholarships?
When will you be able to retire?
What about student loans?
The list of questions is never ending. The good news is, all the answers are right here. Welcome to the Taming the High Cost of College podcast. Here is your host, certified financial planner, Brad Baldridge.
Hello, welcome to Taming the High Cost of College. I'm your host, Brad Baldridge. Today we have a great interview with Captain Orlandon Howard. He's with the Army and is in charge of helping people with ROTC. So he's got a lot of great information on how ROTC works on college campuses and how students can take advantage of ROTC scholarships as well as their leadership training and other things. But before we jump into the ROTC interview, I want to give you a quick update. Every summer, the government declares the interest rates for student loans. This year, the direct loan will be at 4.29%, and that's a loan directed to students, and the students borrow that money, and the students pay it back. And the parent loan, or the PLUS loan, will be at 6.84%, and that's money that parents can borrow to use to help their students pay for college. If you want to learn more about the various loan programs, I cover that in the 6 main financial aid programs out there in an old podcast. So that would be at Taming the High Cost of College /3, or in other words, my 3rd episode that I published, Taming the High Cost of College /3. In that episode, I cover the 6 federal programs, the 2 loans we just mentioned, plus the Perkins loan and grants and work study as well. So there's a lot of great information on how each of those programs works. And this is an update. The interest rates that we talked about back then are no longer accurate. The new rates, again, 4.29 for direct, 6.84 for the PLUS loan. So the rates actually have come down since last year. And those rates only apply to money that's borrowed for this upcoming school year. In other words, for the 2015-16 school year, if you're listening to this far into the future. And there will be a new rate declared for the next school year and the one after that. So every year they declare an interest rate. Every year it can change because it's tied to the current rates of the U.S. Treasuries. And as those rates change, the student loans change. So they fix them once every summer and they use it for a year and then they declare it again for the next year. All right, well, that's enough on the loan programs. Let's jump into the presentation with Captain Orlandon Howard. All right, today I'm interviewing Captain Orlandon Howard. He's involved in ROTC, so welcome, Orlandon.
Brad, thank you for having me. I really appreciate being here.
All right, great. Well, you're an officer. That's why we call you Captain, I assume. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you got involved with ROTC?
Okay, no problem. I'm a public affairs officer, and I work for U.S. Army Cadet Command. U.S. Army Cadet Command has 2 arms that it's responsible for. One arm is the Junior ROTC program, which takes place on high school campuses across the country. And the second arm is the Senior ROTC program, which takes place on college campuses across the nation. Now, I'm here to speak to, more specifically, the Senior ROTC program, which is our college-level program. Now, it's available at about 1,000 colleges across the nation. And so I've been in the Army now for about 11 years. This latter half of my career I've spent as an Army officer. But the first half of my career, I actually served as an enlisted person. Ironically, I actually didn't go through Army ROTC because I wasn't aware of the program when I went to college. I paid for my education when I went to college with college loan debt. And so I graduated college with about $32,000 in college loans. Thankfully, the Army graciously committed to paying back my student loans for my enlisted service. And so while I was doing my enlisted service, I decided I wanted more responsibility. I wanted to lead at a higher level. So I decided to apply to become an Army officer. And the funny thing is, during that process, I had a lieutenant come up to me and ask me very flippantly, why didn't you just go through Army ROTC? And, I was frustrated. I just said that, I didn't know about the program. And so really, that kind of gives some insight into why, I feel compelled to really try to make folks more aware of what the Army ROTC program is about, and really about the opportunity that it really has to provide to young people.
Well, great. I appreciate that. So I guess the first big question then is, can you kind of give us a brief explanation of what ROTC actually is?
Well, Army ROTC really is one of the foremost leadership development programs in the country. It takes place, again, on about 1,000 college campuses across the country. It's the equivalent, really, of taking one elective and one lab per semester. During the course, they're going to train on leadership, particularly tactics and military theory, the application of military leadership. They're going to be learning about management and decision-making techniques and some cultural awareness and problem-solving skills. And so all of those things contribute to developing and educating a competent leader that can perform as an Army officer, but also as a viable civilian leader if they choose to pursue a civilian career.
Okay, so if you're involved in ROTC, then you're actually showing up at ROTC type classes while you're in college.
Exactly. It's an elective course that they'll take along with their standard course load while they're in college. And so that's actually one of the great things about Army ROTC, that really you can still have the normal college life as any other college student. You can still join fraternities. You can still join any of the other civic organizations that are on campus, and yet you still have this opportunity also to become educated more in depth, in a more in-depth case about leadership and management.
Okay. So if I get involved in ROTC, is there any sort of commitment, and what are the benefits? So, I mean, how does that part of it work? Am I going to end up being forced to serve? Give some of those details.
Okay, sure. Oh, I would say the first 2 years, there's not necessarily a commitment. If you enter ROTC on a scholarship, which I'll talk about in a second, then you obviously will incur a service obligation after you complete the ROTC program and graduate from college. Now, obviously, we consider this an opportunity to not only become involved in the program and take advantage of all the benefit it has, but you also have the opportunity to become an Army officer, which is still one of the most respected professions in the country. And so the scholarships that are available, they're numerous. There are different kinds. You can have if a student is in high school and you have a parent right now who has a senior and they're wondering how they're going to pay for college. Really, if they have a student who's has a great academic background, who wants to lead, that student should apply for the 4-year Army ROTC scholarship. And that'll pay up to full tuition. It'll pay the full tuition. And it also add a stipend that the students get, and it also has a book stipend that they receive that's up to $1,200. Now, if a parent has a student that is already in college, then they can also go see their ROTC representative on campus or near the campus that they're on, and there are also scholarships available that they can obtain right there on campus. And really all they have to do is apply for it, submit all the necessary documentation, and they can start the process and get involved in the ROTC program where they're at.
Okay, so if I'm in high school, or my child is in high school, and we're saying, all right, ROTC is something we're interested in, there's opportunities to get all 4 years paid on scholarship in some ways. Now, if that happens, what's typically your commitment after you graduate?
Your typical commitment will be, if you get the active duty option, which means you're going full time, it'll be about 4 years. So you'll serve the Army as an Army officer for about 4 years after graduating and commissioning as an Army lieutenant. Now, if you commit to the reserve option, which is the part-time option, this enables students to pursue the civilian careers that they may desire to do, but also get access to also serve as an Army officer a weekend a month and 2 weeks in the summer. They will incur an obligation of typically 6 years, 6 to 8 years, depending on what program they select or if they're on scholarship or not.
Okay. Now, so if obviously you're active duty, then you're serving on a base or somehow actively working with the military. If you're on the reserve choice, then I guess you could be called up. I mean, is that what we've had happen, I guess, when wartime in the Middle East happened, where some reserve units were called up and then they had no choice but to go and serve? Is that accurate?
That is accurate, Brad. That there is a possibility of all service members at some point being called to a particular mission, and whether that be deployment or whether that be a stateside mission that becomes necessary. Again, we really consider that an opportunity to serve and make a substantial contribution to the defense of the nation, and also any other civic component to the mission that's issued by the Army.
Okay. So if you get substantial scholarships in one of these programs, does that affect your pay as when you're serving actually in the military then? Is your pay still the same as somebody that maybe didn't get scholarships?
Yeah, Brad, once you become active duty officer, all lieutenants, we say, are make the same amount of money. And so the scholarship, you do not incur any additional obligation. You just have to complete college and complete the time, the 4 years, if that's what you signed up for. And so, no, you'll make the same salary as any other lieutenant who either came through West Point or came through officer candidate school. And so that's the answer to that.
All right. So then if we're interested in pursuing this scholarship and ROTC, what's the general procedure? Who do you talk to? How do you find out more?
Okay. So the best place for or anyone really is to go to www.armyrotc.com. And that one has a lot of information about the Army ROTC program. It has testimonials. Again, it has really specific information about Army ROTC. It has a list of colleges that you can actually participate in the program. And so I would first point someone in the direction of armyrotc.com. If they have a high school student, they can, and they want to pursue one of the 4-year scholarships, then they can go to the same website and they can apply online there. If they're already in college, or then what they need to do, they need to contact their local ROTC representative. And I would say it really is as simple as Googling the college that they're attending and putting ROTC behind the name of the college, and then reaching out to what we call the professor of military science and making contact with them, and they can sit down and they can let them know what all their options are and what incentives are available to them.
Okay, great. So now, as far as potential majors and winning scholarships and all that kind of stuff, is there types of students or that you're more interested in? I mean, I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but you might be more interested in doctors and engineers and other technical fields more so than, say, a history major or art major. But maybe I'm wrong. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. Brad, the program is open to all majors, and it's really important that it be open to all majors because we like a broad range of perspectives to bring to our actual organization, also to some of our planning and leading. And so we'll accept the broad range of majors that are available. We do like the idea of students who have a STEM background. The mental framework that they have is really an important, I think, resource that we like to leverage. And so, again, what that does is that really enables us to bring the best potential to our organization. And so we have really a paradigm that we use, and we call it SAL. That's SAL. We really like looking for the scholar athlete leader. And so the scholar is going to be a student that has a good academic background, that they demonstrate that they can study, they can learn things quickly, they have a good work ethic, and the athlete also offers some demonstration that they do have athletic ability to build some resilience and lead in a physical component that the military is important to the military. And then the leader, we have to have someone who wants to lead. And so that's often demonstrated by students by their participation in some organizations, either in high school or college. Maybe some been a president of a local organization in the high school, whether it be the National Honor Society or maybe that be some kind of advocate program that they're involved in. And so that's who we're looking for when it comes to those students.
Okay, so what are the physical requirements? You mentioned athletes, so I guess it's more. I mean, we've heard, at least I have, recall from, again, hearsay and movies and that kind of stuff where, I have flat feet, so I can't be in the military or whatever it is. Is there a kind of a medical and or physical requirements in addition to academics?
All students will have to undergo a medical review. And the professional physician will determine whether they're healthy enough to engage either in an ROTC program and even beyond that, be able to become an Army officer. The other qualifications really relate to a physical assessment, and usually that's either a push-ups or sit-ups and a run, and they really just have to have a minimum score on each event. And so that score although the number of repetitions may be, let's say for push-ups, maybe 35 push-ups or some similar number for the sit-ups and then a certain time for the run.
Okay, so there are some physical requirements as well. So if we get involved in ROTC, do we also have to do some sort of boot camp at some point or other where you go to a more intensive training or?
Yeah, Brad, yes, they will. And I wouldn't call it a boot camp. The cadets will go through what's called a cadet initial entry training. And what that does, that provides a baseline for all of our ROTC cadets. And that ensures that each cadet that we have learns the fundamental skills that they need to succeed in the military. And the first program may include rifle training, may include land navigation, and those kinds of things. And so they will have to go through that program. And that's unless if they've been to a program like that before, then we'll make an exception to them. At the end of closest to the end of the ROTC program, they'll go through what's called a cadet leader course. And that course is a kind of a capstone event that allows us to reinforce and further train and develop the cadets in an increasingly complex environment where they're able to kind of bring their skill set and exercise them, and along with a number of their peers that come from all across the country, and they do both of those training events here on Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Oh, okay. So then once you go through ROTC and you have served your time, do you also have the option then to stay on and do a career in the military?
Yes, they do, Brad. You can serve as long as you please, as long as you remain qualified and competitive. So some students will decide to go on active duty, which is the full-time option. And sure, they can do from either 4 to 30 years. They can go from a lieutenant and become a U.S. Army general. Some can also do the same thing if they decide to pursue the reserve option, which is the part-time service as an Army officer, and they can do the same amount of time. It really is up to them, their choice, and their desires and motivation.
All right, great. So then about how likely is it that people will win scholarships? We were mentioned earlier, as far as the numbers, you said something like there's like 35,000 current in the organization. Can you tell me more about that?
Right now we have just under 35,000 cadets enrolled. Well, about 13,000 of those cadets are on scholarship right now. And so if you want to, you can work out a ratio, develop probably a rudimentary probability of the chance of getting an Army ROTC scholarship. But I know there's some specific things that people want to know. And I can tell you some of the profiles that I've seen that have been successful in getting a Army ROTC scholarship. And so for the 4-year high school scholarship, the average GPA is 3.6, and the average SAT score is about 1250. And so I've seen that students that have those initial qualifications are really competitive for the 4-year scholarship. And we also have a 3-year advanced designee scholarship. And I've seen profiles at 3.2 GPA and a little bit over 1,100 SAT score to compete for those scholarships. Now that's at the national level. Now, if a parent and student decides to have someone already in college, then they need to go sit down with an Army ROTC representative, and they can effectively talk about what the real-time requirements are and what they need to compete at that level for the scholarships that are available to them.
I guess I have a question now. Most of the stuff you've been talking about is Army ROTC, but I believe the other branches also offer some form of ROTC program. I mean, can you do ROTC with the Air Force and other branches as well?
Yes, the other branches do have a ROTC now. I'm not well versed in their programs, so I can speak to Army ROTC. And I know the Army ROTC program is the broadest path for producing and developing military officers. And I also know that it's available at more campuses and has more campuses across the nation. It has substantially more opportunities, career tracks available to students who want to participate in a program like it. And that's really by virtue of being the Army as being the largest military institution. And therefore, again, our opportunities have a wider range, and our budget is larger. And so we're the largest scholarship awarding organization in the country. And so we think Army ROTC just has a leg up.
Right. I mean, that all makes sense. So again, if we're looking at this, say we've got a junior or senior in high school and we're going down the ROTC path, do we get to kind of decide what area in the military we're going to end up at in the long run, or is it more of a kind of get assigned once we graduate? In other words, can I say, well, based on my commitments going in, I kind of know where I'm going to pop out. I'm going to be in the Corps of Engineers, or I'm going to be in the whatever, and I don't even know what divisions the Army has, but do you get to lay out your path at the beginning, or is it kind of a little bit unknown as you get further into it?
Brad, you have students have a substantial amount of influence on which direction they go in regards to their career path. Particularly students that really do well are going to a lot of times get some of their first choices. And even just to discuss about a student really can decide right up front whether or not they want to go active duty or reserve. Students who decide that they want to pursue a civilian career can elect right up front for one of what we call our guaranteed reserve forces duty. And they can essentially sign a contract right up front and decide if they want to do reserves, and they'll go into reserves. As far as career options, we take into account their GPA, their performance at some of the training camps, and really the whole person. We look at the whole person as it relates to being an Army officer. We also take account their choices and their place in the career fields, in the top chosen career fields. And so if you have somebody who wants to be an engineer, really all they have to do is make it known, continue to strive for the best grades that they can, learn as much as they can, and really apply themselves, and they'll get the career tracks they're looking for. And beyond that, once they become a military officer, I mean, the field is really wide. I started out as a field artillery officer, which I chose as my number one choice. Well, now I decided later on I wanted an additional skill set, and so I applied to become a public affairs officer, and that's where I am now. And so the career opportunities really are wide range, and they really are accessible to the students, and we can match it up to their desires.
Okay. Do you think being involved in ROTC, whether it's scholarship or not, has an impact on your civilian career once you graduate from college? Yes.
Well, Army ROTC, in and of itself, we think sets the cadets apart from their peers. Really, by virtue of participating in this additional program, but even more so that the skill sets that is really highly recognized, we think, across the nation, that they gain in Army ROTC as it relates to leadership and decision making and management and complex problem solving that ROTC really focuses in on. Those skill sets we think set apart the cadet from their peers, and we think they'll pay significant dividends in the civilian sector. And given the experience that they gain, because Army ROTC really is about experiential learning, and so they get an opportunity to apply the things that they've learned. They get an opportunity to get feedback from the mentors that they have in the program and also in their careers. And we've seen a lot of people achieve significant success after completing the Army ROTC program and becoming Army officers.
All right, great. Well, I really appreciate the education here. I'm kind of learning along with my audience as far as how ROTC actually works. But it's time to wrap things up. But before I let you go, do you have any quick tips that as far as websites or other great ways that parents and students can learn more about ROTC, or what other avenues might be of interest to them?
I'm sure, Brad. Well, I know parents, have a number of concerns as it relates to sending their children to college. And I know one of those concerns is their ability to afford college. And if you go to www.armyrotc.com, you can get a great snapshot about all the financial incentives that exist for the Army ROTC program. I also know that parents are concerned about the actual growth and development that the students get in their college experience. And so again, the same website can give you a lot of information about what you can expect in the Army ROTC program, and all the things that are going to contribute to the student actual experience in college, and also the careers that they're going to pursue after they graduate college. And the last one is I know parents also, I know they're really concerned about the career opportunities that are available beyond college. And I understand that the career opportunities really are essential to making an accurate assessment of the value of the actual college education. And so there you're also at the armyrotc.com. You'll find out the wide range of career tracks that are available to the Army ROTC graduate, and you'll find out that there's a career waiting for immediately upon graduation, waiting for the Army ROTC graduate.
All right. Well, great. I really appreciate all this great information. In the show notes, we'll put, you forwarded a bunch of links for Facebook and Twitter and other places where you can get more information. So we will have a whole list of links available in the show notes for anybody that wants to learn more. And that, I don't know, is it appropriate do you recruit across the country? If somebody in Texas said, hey, I want to talk to Orlandon, is that appropriate, or would they need to find someone more local to talk to?
I encourage them to speak to someone more local, someone that can speak to their actual market, because the environment is different and changes in certain campuses. It's really important that they go see the local ROTC representative to find out what's available right now.
All right. Well, great. I appreciate all the great advice, and we're going to wrap things up, and we'll probably talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Brad. I really appreciate you having me on your show.
All right. That was a great interview. I hope you got a lot out of it. As a reminder, we have show notes available at tamingthehighcostofcollege/42, which is the 42nd episode of this podcast. If you go there, you're able to get all the links for all the stuff that we talked about, as well as the interest rates that we just talked about, and links back to other podcasts that have been mentioned. So again, there's great information available there. You can also sign up for our newsletter there, where we will send you updates on what's going on in the college space, as well as information about upcoming podcasts and other information. That's all we have for today. I appreciate you listening. I would appreciate it if you took a minute and went to iTunes and or Stitcher and left a review and comments about the podcast. That helps us in the rankings. That's all for today. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Taming the High Cost of College podcast. Now it's time for you to take action. Head to tamingthehighcostofcollege.com for show notes, bonus content, and to leave feedback for Brad. The next step on your college journey starts now.
Brad Baldridge is a registered representative of Cambridge Investment Research and an investment advisor representative of Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Brad owns two companies, Baldridge Wealth Management and Baldridge College Solutions. The Baldridge companies are not affiliated with Cambridge Investment Research.